Good afternoon, or good morning, or potentially good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Welcome to the fourth session on cultivating well-being, a whole life approach for agriculture. Today, we're going to be talking about emotional wellness, and I'm happy to be here with you. I am Doris Mold, and I am the lead on the Rural Resiliency Project, which this interactive series is being led by them. Um, and by the work that we do there. In addition to Rural Resiliency Project, we appreciate the support of our partners, of which there are many: Annie's Project, the Women's Agricultural Leadership Program, the Cultivating Resiliency Program, UMASH, which is the Upper Midwest Agricultural Safety and Health Center, and Forward Agriculture. Just before we begin, I just want to remind people that, we use our own experience and backgrounds as guides. Each of you are experts in your own lives. If today's topic brings up thoughts or feelings that you might not have been prepared to address, you can always connect with Monica, who is our resident expert as our rural mental health specialist. So we're thrilled to have her with us, but also we'll have some additional resources that we'll provide as well. And just a reminder too that this information is not intended to be treatment. One other reminder before we begin is that this session is in a meeting format, which is a little unusual from our standard sessions that we offer. Usually it's webinar. So if you have your camera on, people can see you. You are being recorded, and we can see everybody's a little rectangle with your name on it and things like that. So just be aware of that, and be aware too that we'd like you to keep muted until we have discussion portions, so we don't get background noise or side conversations if you have to answer the phone and things like that. So just some reminders of those things before we begin. All right, and so I'd like to introduce Monica McConkey, who is our moderator and facilitates these sessions. And she is going to be doing it all today because this emotional wellness is really at the heart of what is in her wheelhouse. And so last week, for instance, we had a financial specialist in as a guest, but Monica has just a wealth of knowledge in all different areas. But and we're thrilled to have her leading these conversations. So welcome, Monica.
Thank you, Doris. Good to be here. For those of you who haven't been on one of our webinars or don't know who I am, my name is Monica McConkey, and I grew up on a farm, very tied to agriculture. Family still farms. And um, I've been in the behavioral health field for 31 years this year. About 6, 7 years ago now, I went into private practice and really focused my work on providing counseling and support to farmers and ranchers and their families. And I also do a lot of training and presenting around the country on rural mental health and agriculture. Always a joy to work with Doris and Cultivating Resiliency and Rural Resiliency, two core programs that she has developed. And today we're continuing our series on the 8 dimensions of wellness. So we started in January, and we have covered physical wellness, we did occupational wellness, financial wellness, and now we're on to emotional wellness. We'll be taking a little break from the webinars over the summer, and we'll be announcing soon what the plan is for summer. We're going to do some fun stuff, and then we'll pick back up in September. We'll be covering the areas of intellectual, social, environmental, and spiritual wellness, September, October, November, December. So very good to have you all here today. So typically on these webinars, we bring in a guest speaker who is an expert in the topic. So I'm going to do a bit of the guest speaking, but then instead of bringing in an outside person, we're actually going to all view a video which is going to lead us through um, an activity. So that is kind of taking the place of the guest speaker today, and you'll know more when we get there. So we've finished introductions. I have some polls that we're going to do. We'll do the video activity. We'll have discussion. So a part of this is discussing in smaller groups the topic at hand. So after our video activity, we will be dividing you into breakout rooms. Please stick with us. It's not painful. It's easy. People enjoy the discussion. And then we'll come back as a large group and do a recap and close things out. So all of that will happen in about 53 minutes. Okay, so for the polling feature, we can do this a couple different ways. You can grab your phone and you can, in your texting app, text to the number 22333. And the code you're texting is that code right there, Monica, MCCONK 993. Now, if you prefer not to do that, on the next slide is the first poll, but also a little QR code. You can just scan the QR code and get in. Or you can open a new window on your browser, and there is a link there as well. So a few different ways. I'll put the texting instructions up for a second here, and then we'll go to the first poll and you can log on that way as well. Okay, so here's the first polling question. The directions are on the top to get connected. If you haven't gotten connected yet, you can either scan the QR code in the upper right-hand corner. You can do the pollev.com /Monica MCCONK 993, or you can text to the number 22333, and the code you're texting is this Monica MCCONK 993. So let's see how the answers are coming in. The question is, what word, one word, comes to mind when you think of emotional wellness? So we have regulated, safe, healthy, together. I think some words probably got split up a little bit. Happy. Other words that come to mind when you think of emotional wellness, one word, and you can enter more responses, but just do it one word at a time because they'll get kind of split up in this. Smooth sailing, emotional wellness, like smooth sailing, kind of goes along with regulated, right? We're in a good place. Okay. Safe. So the word safe got larger suddenly here because more of you have typed in safe as a response. So the words that more of you submit, they grow larger. We have balanced, happy, safe, healthy, regulated. All right, awesome. So let's jump in. Emotional wellness. It really is about our ability to cope with the stressors that life throws at us, to understand and manage the emotions that we're feeling, and to maintain a positive sense of ourselves and the life we're living. So there's a lot wrapped up in emotional wellness. We break it down a little more. Emotional wellness is being aware of our thoughts and feelings. Thoughts and feelings are very tied together. The thoughts we have drive how we feel. So our thoughts and emotions absolutely tied together. Often when I'm in a place where, I'm just feeling unsettled or dysregulated, and I don't really know why, I go back to what I'm thinking about. Because even if life is not going well around you externally, our thoughts can stay in an okay place. Our thoughts can be hopeful. Our thoughts can be future oriented, problem solving oriented, and that's going to cause us to feel better. Also, expressing emotions in healthy ways that support us coping well, support us having positive relationships, and support us being resilient through tough times. So, how are we expressing our emotions? No emotion is good or bad. They can definitely be more helpful or less helpful, especially in the way we express them. So, a good example is anger. If we express our anger in a way that is aggressive toward others, damaging of property, hurtful, um, the anger isn't the problem. It's the expression of that anger. If we have anger and we choose to talk it out, we choose to go for a walk and regulate ourselves, if we choose to look at where's this anger coming from and what about that do I have control over, we can even express anger in healthy ways. And over the last point there is really maintaining that positive and resilient outlook, even in times of difficulty. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with feeling emotions. There's nothing wrong with feeling difficult emotions. It's more about, is that emotion helping you or is it not helping you? The analogy I use is a teeter-totter or a seesaw. When our emotions are elevated, the thinking, rational, problem-solving part of our brain is very diminished. So what we're shooting for is also another word is regulation or smooth sailing, is we're shooting for a level teeter-totter. So we're calm, we're regulated, the emotions aren't driving us in an unhelpful way. So that leads us to think about, how do we level off our teeter-totter? How do we regulate our emotions? One thing that helps that we really haven't started talking about, except very recently, and maybe you haven't even heard about this, but it's called the vagus nerve. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the vagus nerve, because sometimes when we are stressed, when we are dealing with tough situations, our emotions are up here, so our teeter-totter is tipped. It is really hard to find a way to calm. It is really hard to find a way to get to that place of regulation and smooth sailing. The vagus nerve can help us do this. We all have it. In some of us, it's very responsive. So when we start feeling stress, our body intuitively stimulates our vagus nerve to help us calm. For others of us, the vagus nerve is very unresponsive. And so we stay in heightened stress or worry or anxiety more often. So, what is the vagus nerve? It's not like Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So, not that kind of Vegas, spelled different. It's Vagus. Vagus means wandering. I think it's Latin or something for wandering. So the vagus nerve starts at our brainstem and it runs through and connects our internal organs, our spinal cord, our throat, the pharynx and larynx, our heart, our lungs, our liver, our spleen, large intestine, small intestine. So it is a pathway through our whole body. So what is the purpose of it? Imagine your stress system like the gas pedal. So we're stressed, we have demands, it's go, 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 things are happening, we have worries, we're experiencing anxiety. So when stress hits, the gas pedal goes down, and that causes things to happen like a racing heart. Our muscles are tense. Our stomach isn't working the way it should. The vagus nerve is the brake. So if you think of stress as the gas pedal, the vagus nerve operates as the brake. It helps us slow down. It helps us feel safer. It helps us start to recover from that stress. So it is the mechanism that can help us level our teeter-totter and be in a place of feeling more regulated, of more calm. Now, there's other things that help too, but many of the things we talk about that help regulate our nervous system, help regulate our emotions, are involving the vagus nerve, like going for a walk, doing something with our hands, like a craft. That all is stimulating that vagus nerve. So we're doing it. We're just probably doing it unconsciously or unintentionally. And the whole goal of having this conversation is we want to intentionally tune in to how we can stimulate our vagus nerve. So we're going to do something kind of fun. There is a video, it's 10 minutes long, and it is on vagus nerve or vagal nerve massage. I find this fascinating. I use this nights that I can't sleep because my mind is going. I'll do this little vagal nerve massage. It's self massage on myself, and I am able to fall asleep. I'm able to rest. If I notice I'm keyed up, I'm worried, I'm stressed about something, this is something you can do anytime. So we're going to do this kind of together. You don't have to have your cameras on. I'll have my camera on and you'll see the lady on screen. But I'm going to pull up the video and we're going to do a little vagal nerve massage.
And Monica, maybe you could put the link in the chat as well, so then people can have
I
that
can
for
definitely do that. Yes,
later
good,
on as
good
well.
idea. Okay, very good. All right, so we are going to unmute. If you're not hearing me, if you're not hearing, let me know.
Decrease stress using vagus nerve massage. Here we go. So there's a way that you can help decrease your own stress at home using something called your vagus nerve. So let's talk quickly about what that is. Your vagus nerve is a cranial nerve. It's cranial nerve 10. You have two of them and they run from your brain all the way down to your intestine. They're the longest cranial nerve. You have one on each side. And what the vagus nerve does is help to regulate your parasympathetic nervous system. So it helps you to come out of that fight or flight response, and it helps you decrease your stress and come back to a steady state. It also helps other systems in the body, such as your digestive system and your heart rate. So by learning how to help regulate that system and learning how to massage and help the health of your vagus nerve, you can actually help decrease your own stress at home in less than 10 minutes. And I'm going to show you how. There are 4 easy things that we can do at home to actually help the health of our vagus nerve. The first thing is deep breathing. So what you would do is just spend time inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth, and you want your exhales to last longer than your inhales. And we're gonna work on that when we do our self-massage here in a second. But just keep in mind, anytime that you're feeling that fight or flight response come up, take a few deep breaths with your exhales lasting longer than your inhales, and that can help. Another thing that can help stimulate your vagus nerve is humming. Humming or gargling or even singing helps to stimulate your vagus nerve. So that's something else you can do at home. And then another thing is exercise. So something we do all the time here. Regular exercise every day is shown to help that vagus nerve and can help decrease your stress. So those are 3 things that you can do at home easily. And now I'm going to show you a short and simple way to massage your vagus nerve to help as well. So you can use this massage technique anytime that you're feeling that stress response get a little bit high. And you can do it just sitting or in standing or anywhere that feels good to you. Laying down in bed is just fine. You can just do it straight onto your skin. I personally like to use a little bit of oil, and this is actually a vagus nerve oil by Osea. It has a lot of essential oils in it to help that stress response. So I'll have the link for this below. But again, you can use anything you have at home or just nothing at all. So if you are going to use any kind of oil, you just want to put a little bit on your fingertips here and rub it in. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to start with our ears. Okay. So what I want you to do is come up, and I'm just taking my pointer finger here and I'm just placing it right into kind of that outer part of my ear here. I'm not going near the ear canal at all. What I'm doing is just finding that little kind of divot there, right? And I'm just rubbing, and then I'm gonna put my thumb on the outside of my ear and I'm gonna pull it away. Okay, I'm gonna pull it away from my head. And you can do both here at the same time, or sometimes it feels nice to just focus on one. But research has shown we actually have a lot of connection within our ear to the vagus nerve. So by just working kind of right, again, into that outer kind of cavern of your ear here, pulling the ear gently away from your head. And all of this is very, very gentle, okay? This isn't a deep massage. It's just enough to kind of move the skin and to stimulate that area. And I move all the way up here, little circles. And again, this is a great technique that you can do anytime, but if you're really looking to help kind of your stress response, it can be done when you're laying in bed at night, maybe before you fall asleep. It can be done at your desk between meetings. It's a great way to stimulate that vagus nerve and to help bring your body back to a steady state. All right, now I'm gonna move right behind my ear. So I'm right at that spot where my ear meets my skull. And I just have my pointer finger and I'm just slowly kind of rubbing up and then back down. And as you're doing this, I want you to start to work here on taking a deep breath in through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Inhale through your nose for a count of 2. And then exhale for a count of 4. Nice big exhale. Nice. All right, so now we're gonna move on to our temples. And I just want you to give some circles right here at your temples in each direction. And I know for me, at least, using this essential oil blend, it just really kind of brings me into that idea of wanting to be in a calm place. And again, it is not necessary. Just doing this massage technique alone can help. And then move down to your jaw. And as you're at your jaw, work it open a little bit. Really big mouth. And then close. Make different shapes. Don't worry about feeling silly while you do this, okay? It is such an important way to help not only with stress, but really to help the health of your vagus nerve, which, as we mentioned, helps with digestion, helps with your heart rate, it helps with your immune system. So there's a lot of health benefits that come when you work on that vagus nerve. So I'm just working up and down my jaw here, back to my temple. Nice job. Okay, we're gonna move to our neck and shoulders. I'm just gonna get a little more here. So I want you to come here again on both sides, or you can do one side at a time. Sometimes that's nice to be able to focus on one. And again, I want you to really be aware that you are not rubbing very hard. You're not pressing very hard. And I'm starting kind of right here behind my ear at the base of my ear. And then I'm just working down the side of my neck in these gentle circles to my collarbone. And I'll do it on the other side. I find personally it just feels a little better if I can do one side at a time. Feels better on my neck and my throat. But either one is okay as long as you're being gentle. And then maybe let's work around to the back of the neck. So I'm using my fingers now, kind of almost towards my spine. Just kneading up and down. Maybe when you exhale, do that little hum sound. Keeping your mouth closed, bringing in that idea of how humming can help your vagus nerve. And then I'm going to come down even to those muscles, those trap muscles, those things you probably, if you're sitting at a computer long enough, right, you start to work on those naturally. And then the other side. And then just work your way back up. I like to go right behind my ears one more time. And then back around the outside of my ears. And then I bring my arms down to my sides and reach them all the way up on an inhale. And exhale. Back down. And give your head just a couple circles here gently, just to the front and side. And back to the center. And take one more deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through the mouth. And nice job. That massage technique can be used daily to help, again, bring your body back to that steady state, get yourself a little less stress, and help keep your vagus nerve healthy. Thanks for being here today, and I'll see you soon.
So, vagus nerve stimulation, what's interesting is we often do that, the massage techniques, unconsciously. Like we're not realizing what we're doing or what our body is telling us is stimulating the vagus nerve. For example, how many of you, when you're stressed, have found yourself doing this? Or how many, when you're tense, you find yourself rubbing or massaging up and down your neck or your spine? I know often when I'm presenting in front of a large group of people, I am pulling on my ear, unconsciously stimulating the vagus nerve to calm our stress response. So let's break into rooms and we are going to, yes, Sandy, it is amazing. Just that little 10 minutes, no big deal. We're going to break into rooms, probably just a couple of rooms, and we're going to talk about these two questions. One is simply, what did you think of the vagus nerve massage activity? Where do you see yourself using it? How did you feel afterwards, during? Just a discussion about that activity. The second thing is, what are other things? I mean, that the vagus nerve massage tool in your toolbox now, but what are other things that work for you to regulate your emotions or level that seesaw, level that teeter-totter? So this is a time to share, learn from each other, and we will go ahead and go into the rooms. And I'll probably pop in and join just to see how the conversation's going. So you should have a window that popped up that said which room to join. Just go ahead and click join. Hopefully your breakout rooms were good discussions. I know when I hopped into both of them, it seemed like they were. I originally had polls for us to just kind of share outside of our group, the two questions. But since we're a small group, if you want to unmute and just share your thoughts on that vagus nerve massage, how was it for you? Do you feel yourself doing it again in the future? Um, Go ahead. We'll just kind of open it up. If nobody shares, then we'll go to the polls so people can anonymously share. Any thoughts on the vagus nerve massage?
Well, I definitely will do that vagus nerve massage activity. That was really good. And, I most everyone in our group had some form of that they did already. Um, and, uh, like most of us also, to level our seesaw, we went for a walk, whether that
Hmm,
was outside or in the garage or whatever, just to help our mind settle down and get back to what we need to
awesome.
do.
Awesome. That's so good. And the vagus nerve massage, if you dive into some research on this, another thing that really helps stimulate it is any cross body motion. So when we're walking and we're moving our arms, especially if we're moving them across our body, that stimulates the vagus nerve. Some people do like they call butterfly tapping. That stimulates the vagus nerve because we're forcing, really, in essence, the two parts of our brain to talk to each other. So walking is great for that. Good. Thank you for sharing. Other things, either question. What did you think of the activity and what works for you to regulate your emotions?
I've been going to acupuncture for 3 sessions. I've got going to do a total of 12
Okay.
to help with recovering from cancer stuff and stress reduction. And I think my acupuncturist said that it functions on vagus nerve principles, if I remember correctly. I remember
That's
hearing that
amazing.
word anyways.
Yeah, amazing. So after 3 sessions, what are your thoughts on how you feel during and after your acupuncture?
I do definitely feel more zen. Um, I don't know if it's been a magic bullet for my neck
Mhm,
pain yet,
mhm.
um, but I definitely I do like it a lot, and I'm happy to continue it. And it's definitely been something that's been enough scientifically proven that my insurance is even covering it through Alina. And I don't think
Amazing.
people know that they can even get, coverage through insurance now, which is pretty darn cool. It used to be that you have to pay out of pocket. So
Very cool. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Others, vagus nerve massage activity or or how what works for you for leveling your cease. Let's do the polls since we have kind of a quiet group. We'll just do the what works for you to level your CSUS. We get some ideas rolling in. So go to your phone or your polling feature. What are the things that you do or think or act on that helps you regulate your emotions? So we've got walking, breathing, so those deep breathing techniques, being in nature, napping, warm baths. Wonderful. walking and horses, being around animals can definitely be for some people, not all people, can definitely help regulate. So create creative things. So working with your hands, that box breathing. You breathe into the count of four, hold to the count of four, breathe out to the count of four, rest to the count of four. Petting cats, dogs, cows, talking to somebody, breathing. One thing I thought about with creative activities and using your hands, I was meeting with a client the other day, and she was having a lot of dealing with some grief things, a recent surgery, just a lot of life-changing things. And one of the things that calmed her was like meditation, but for her specifically, it was saying the rosary. And she would typically just, with the rosary beads, just use one hand and rotate through. And so thinking about the vagus nerve, we're doing a little experiment over the next couple of weeks. So when she says it daily, she's using both hands. So there's a little bit of that cross body motion. So we're going to see if that motion combined with the meditation is helpful to her. So we have lots of good things coming in, sitting quietly, talking with God, watching the birds, gardening, massage. Awesome. So think about, intent, what we are working toward here is that when I feel my teeter-totter is tilted, when I feel like I'm dysregulated, I'm going to intentionally work on regulating. I'm going to notice my emotions, I'm going to notice my thoughts, and I'm going to work to regulate. Because when we regulate, our thinking brain comes back online and we see the world, the problems, the issues very differently than we're seeing them when it's only through a lens of emotion. Wonderful. This is my contact info if anyone wants to get in touch. And I'm going to turn it over to Doris to run through the resources. And I also need to get the link for that video. I'm not sure how to do that without stopping sharing. So run through resources, Doris. I'll grab that link and I'll put it into chat.
All right. Well, and I can also email out the link later if that works
Okay,
easier for you.
awesome.
But appreciate Monica as always. And if you need follow-up, Monica is our woman of the moment. Woman always, actually. Always seems to be there and helping support farmers, ranchers, growers, agriculturalists, and people in rural areas. We just appreciate you so much, Monica. So some resources to help you besides Monica, who is would be top of my list. The Farm State of Mind online resource directory is a good place to go. It is a clearinghouse run by Farm Bureau. They don't do all of they don't provide all the resources in the directory, but they provide the directory for people to use. So it is a searchable directory, and we encourage you to go there for their and see if there's some resources that might be beneficial to you or those that you work with. Some other resources as well, just, the common resources that we see at a lot of meetings, but the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, you can text that line and connect with those people, call those people, and you can connect with them even if you aren't suicidal or working with somebody who's considering suicide. It is meant for crisis, people in crisis. And we know with what's going on in the world and in agriculture in particular that we may run into the need to access some of those services. And then there's also the crisis text line. And you can text that number from anywhere and connect with somebody immediately. And then National Domestic Violence Hotline is another place to get services. And then also we have UMASH, the Upper Midwest Agricultural Safety and Health Center. They are one of 11 centers set up by the CDC across the country that deals with agricultural health and safety. And they have good resources on their website, but then they also have the links to all of the other centers across the country. So you can access them and find out the center closest to you. just a few other things. We will be doing some late summer and spring and summer activities. We'll have that information out soon. So May, June, July, August. We will not be running this regular session because it's a little more challenging. We had 83 people sign up for today's session, and I guess a lot of people are going to be watching our recording, but we know that summer is more challenging for folks. So we're going to switch it up, and we'll be announcing that soon. So you'll get an email about that. And if you'd like to participate over the summer, terrific. Otherwise, we'll see you again in September when we restart and do the last 4 of the sessions, September, October, November, and December. Just a few other things to remind you of some upcoming programs. You saw some of our collaborative partners at the beginning of this session, one of which is Annie's Project tomorrow. Annie's Project is hosting a National Ag Policy Update, and so maybe you can find out why some of these things that are stressing out in agriculture are happening, or at least the latest news on some of that. So Farm Credit will be presenting at that session. I think that'll be a very good one for us to have some good takeaways. Additionally, we have Annie's Project, which has been a collaborator, a longtime collaborator. They are having a session on how Annie's lives improve, how Annie's Project improves lives and the long-term impact. They've had a recent, out of Iowa State, have had a recent study on the long-term impact of Annie's Project. And then some other things that are maybe a little more in tune with what we're doing here as far as wellness and behavioral health. We are working with Farmer Veteran Coalition, and we have a special training that's been set up through one of our partners, the Women's Ag Leadership Program. And so we have a special training on May 1st for that, and that's Mental Health Awareness Month, kicks off that day as well. And then I'm almost out of breath, but here we go. Rooted and Resilient, our person that helps us with our coffee chats for the Cultivating Resiliency program is going to be doing a special journaling session on May 12th, and that registration is open. And then also on May 21st, we have the next coffee chat. And so you're welcome to sign up for any and all of those sessions, and we'll have some additional follow-up information coming out on those as well. And my contact information as far as the Rural Resiliency Project, I know many of you see me in many different places. I wear a lot of different hats, but today I am, and for this session, representing the Rural Resiliency Project. So thank you all for being here. Monica, I'm going to turn it over to you for any last words of wisdom.
Thank you. I reiterate the thanks. Thanks for being here. This was a fun session. Just keep in mind that, when we talk emotional wellness, your emotions are good or bad. They can be more helpful or less helpful, especially in the way you act on those emotions. So just keep that in mind, and intentionally things you can do to regulate or level that seesaw.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you over the late spring and summer. But if not, again, we'll see you hopefully in September. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.